All right, so now we come to the presentation portion of the day, and I'd just like to do just one more quick welcome to Colleen. And thanks to Colleen for agreeing to come and teach us a bit about the network. So just to do, I'm literally just going to read the write-up. So you're going to watch me read here for a minute. Colleen has been with Luther College since 2018 and began her role as director of the NVSSN in 2021. She holds a Bachelor of Arts and Masters of Adult Education from the U of R. She brings over a decade of meaningful experience working and volunteering in the nonprofit sector, both in Canada and internationally. She's an active volunteer with the Regina Open Door Society, RaiseHer Community, and the Terry Fox Foundation, and is a board member of the Saskatchewan Career Development Association. She joins us for the session to tell us about NVSSN's nonprofit leadership and innovation certificate, service learning, and engagement opportunities. I also just want to also note that SSCF is actually also partnering with the NVSSN and working with Colleen on our vital signs report that will be that's currently being worked on and we'll be releasing at the end of the year. So we're really excited to be able to collaborate on that as well. Without further ado, welcome Colleen. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure, and I appreciate the opportunity, and great to see, well, not see your faces, but see some familiar names and connect with you all in this space. So thanks again, Victor. I'm just thrilled to be here and to connect with all of you again today. I'm just going to share my screen here so I can share my presentation and go through a little bit about the NVSSN. I think some of you are familiar with it, but I will tell you a little bit today. Here's the outline for my presentation. I'll tell you a little bit about Luther College at the University of Regina, the NVSSN, and I'll center my conversations about the NVSSN around the 3 pillars of the NVSSN, which are, as you can see there, learning, research, and innovation. And as I go through those, I'll provide some examples of work that we're doing in each of those areas, and then maybe most importantly, opportunities for engagement and contribution to that and collaboration. And then questions and comments throughout are always welcome. By all means, I would love to be engaging and participatory. So if you have any questions, just feel free to pop them in the chat or put on your mic, and I'd love to have you share your thoughts. So to start with, I'll talk a little bit about Luther College at the University of Regina. So Luther College is a federated college of the U of R. What does that mean? It means that we are academically integrated. Luther College teaches in the arts, sciences, and fine arts, or in the Faculty of Media, Art, and Production. And we're administratively separate. So academically integrated, administratively separate. That's kind of a good way to summarize it. We've recently undergone a strategic planning process at Luther. I won't go too deep into it, but kind of the main points I think that I want to summarize are the vision and the strategic themes that we'll be focusing on between now and 2025. I think that really helps capture the essence of who we are as a college and what we're really striving towards. I love this new vision statement. Making transformative change for a more grace-filled, just, and joyful world. And I feel like, particularly through the work of the NVSSN, we can all think and consider the work that the nonprofit does in social change and the challenges that can come with that. And it's really difficult to make transformative change, but there is a lot of joy behind that work as well, and that struggle for justice. So I'm really pleased with that vision statement and the themes that arose as well. So of course, academics and students are a priority. We're a learning institution, but also focusing on employee health and well-being, sustainability, and community. So on those last 2 points, Luther is a global lead on SDG, the UN Sustainable Development Goal 12, which is responsible production and consumption. We were named by the International Association of Universities, Luther College and the University of Regina, to lead in that area. And sustainability also just in terms of working towards sustainable development and long-term solutions for some of the challenges that we face. And then community. So what does that mean? Just, I guess, broadly defined, Luther having a role in our community, contributing through research, through volunteerism, through our academic programs, our graduates, our faculty and staff, as engaged community members and citizens, and helping our communities that we connect with grow. And of course, that includes this nonprofit and voluntary sector. And I'm just honored and pleased to be able to work in the role as director and have the opportunity to support and learn and collaborate with the sector. So that's a little bit about Luther and a little bit about the NVSSN. So what is the NVSSN? It's a huge long name, nonprofit voluntary sector studies network. Really the essence of that is a network to help support and maintain a thriving nonprofit and voluntary sector in Saskatchewan. So we serve nonprofit leaders, U of R staff, students and faculty, and the community at large, because volunteerism is widespread, and we want to continue to maintain that spirit of volunteerism, the spirit of philanthropy and giving to your community and to the organizations that are doing the good work in our community. So all of that is part of my work, is just kind of supporting that, encouraging people to consider volunteerism, promoting the work that's happening in the sector, helping create future leaders to consider careers, and making connections through research, faculty, and the community. So that is a little bit about my work at the NVSSN. Again, like I said, I'm going to focus kind of the summary of what I do through these three pillars: learning, research, and innovation. So I'll start off with learning. Of course, the certificate that we have in nonprofit sector leadership and innovation is really the foundation of that pillar. There are 5 undergraduate courses in the certificate. It's open to any undergraduate student at the University of Regina, and as well to any community member. So you can register through the Center for Continuing Education. You don't have to be like that traditional 18 to 21-year-old undergraduate student to take it. And it is fully online, and there are flexible learning options. You don't have to take 5 courses a semester. The intention when it was created was to also allow for professionals working in the nonprofit sector who are doing succession planning or planning for career advancement in the sector to also access the certificate. So again, open to anyone, open to any faculty, because students who are in that undergraduate degree, you know, it's applicable really across the disciplines. So that's a little bit about the certificate. Here's a list of the courses. So Foundations course is a mandatory course, and then there are 8 other courses: community development, communications, governance, organizational management, human resources, program planning and evaluation, financial management, and fund development. So I know all of these are very relevant to the work of the sector. And important opportunities for learning. If you're interested in taking one of the courses, that is absolutely an option as well. There is more details about the program on our website too. And if you have questions ever, you can always send me an email. Service learning has always been a really foundational piece. What do I mean by service learning? I mean the opportunity for students to connect to the work that's happening locally in the sector and help support the sector through those service learning opportunities. Now, I know that it's been a challenge through the pandemic, and we've made it a really big priority to reevaluate how service learning is being done and to do it better. And part of that is we collaborated with the Community Engagement Research Unit and have received a grant to help support the development of more service learning in our certificates, which we're really excited about. So to that extent, we will be looking for community partners to work with us to develop service learning placements. And the great part about this grant is that there will be money for the community partners. Again, in the spirit of reciprocity and supporting the sector, we understand that it is a lot of commitment to help support students in the program, and we want to recognize your efforts there and you know, just show appreciation for that. So we're thrilled that the grant has that built in and that there will be money for community partners. So we'd love to hear if you are interested and have more questions about engaging with us. As well, like I said, we are always striving to improve what we have to offer. The NSLI certificate was originally created in 2016, so coming on 8 years now that we've had it, and we recognize that it's a different world post-pandemic, and the sector has undergone tremendous changes and I guess transformations throughout that time. So I'd love to hear, sorry, I didn't mean to advance there. I'd love to hear a little bit from you about what the essence of an NSLI graduate would or should be for those of you who are working in the sector, and what skills are most important for students to have as they come out of the certificate. So I have a QR code there that you can capture. I have a survey link, and it's just 3 questions, and it is those questions. So what is the essence of an NSLI graduate? So what would someone who completes the NSLI certificate, nonprofit sector leadership and innovation certificate, what would they look like? And beyond just skills, because the skills is the second question, but I guess instilling that philosophy that would capture, I guess, that spirit of service and the spirit of community and engagement and volunteerism and philanthropy. And I don't know if those are all the things, but I'd love to hear some feedback from you all about what the NSLI graduate would look like or should look like. And then the second question is, what are the most important skills for the nonprofit sector? And then finally, there's just an open-ended question if you want to add any other critiques or feedback that you have from your experience or what you've heard or what you would like to see. We are going through an NSLI course review process right now. So we're working on recreating those service learning placements with that grant opportunity. We're also looking at recording, situation-based analysis, situation-based analysis projects for students. So if you're working in the sector and you'd be willing or interested to record a video about, a challenge that you might face as a manager or executive director, or as a staff person, some like common scenario that you would see in the sector so that students can hear from you locally, like what are the things that our organizations are facing on the ground, and how can they, potentially problem solve around those issues and come up with solutions. So really trying to integrate that into the learning process as well. Yeah, of course, Carol. So service learning placements, it really could be anything from, like, let's say you have a project on like a communications project for the communications class. Students could come up with different communication plans for your social media, or it could be again a situation-based challenge, an advocacy letter. It could be for the fund and development class, it could be having students write appeal letters, and of course at the end you would get several appeal letters. Usually our classes have 20 to 25 students, and maybe they break out into groups of 3, and you've got 8 different appeal letters for a cause that you might be writing an appeal for, and then you could choose from those letters which would be most useful to you, or even just gather ideas. We try not to get them to be overly complicated because, again, we recognize the effort that comes from you to put those service placements together. But really, we could brainstorm ideas about anything, like whatever it might look like for your world. I think it just really depends on what type of work you're doing and the people that you're serving. So I would just open up an invitation to just have a conversation about that and what it could look like. It could be really anything. Yeah, of course. If anyone else has any questions or thoughts, please feel to pop it in, or even just thoughts on that whole concept of like, what would a professional coming out of the NSLI certificate look like? So yeah, all this to say that I think the certificate definitely is very unique and valuable. It's the one of its kind here, undergraduate certificate in Saskatchewan. And I think there's a great need for it, and we want to make it excellent and reflective of the work that's happening in our community. And that's really the goal of this NSLI review process, is to make sure that it's meeting the needs and reflecting what's happening. So that's why we really count on community to support us. And again, we have money to make sure that you're compensated for the time that you give to that, because we know we recognize that it takes time and effort to contribute to that too. So that's a little bit about the learning. So if you're willing to kind of pop that into the chat or want to turn on your microphone and have the conversation about those skills really briefly here, I'd love to hear from you. I know it's kind of hard in these large group Zoom rooms to feel bold to speak, but I'll just wait here for 20 or 30 seconds and see if there's anyone who wants to share a little bit about what they think might be the most important. So.
Colleen, even maybe to get us started, what are some of the skills that kind of come to your mind right away when you think about this?
I think just skills like maybe not the typical, just like, oh, it's really good to have grant writing skills, because I think it is really like that would be, obviously an essential skill to have when you're working in the nonprofit, but something like innovative thinking, or that kind of maybe goes towards more of the essence of the student, like what would their qualities and characteristics look like, understanding organizational structure, governance, leadership, what are the leadership qualities that matter most in the certificate program. Advocacy, community advocacy, I think those would be really important. I imagine really important to have and to cover. In the spirit of volunteerism and understanding citizenship and those things, when I'm thinking about, those are things that come to my mind when I think about the essence, but I don't want to by any means put too many words in people's minds. So yeah, do you have any thoughts, Victor, about skills or things that are most important?
I do. And then I also see here Shayla Stevenson just mentioned adaptability, critical thinking in the chat. Yeah, like some of the things that come to mind with me, even just like I would in my past life, I would say I was an experienced executive director. And then I also like work with a lot of people, but some of the things like public speaking is huge, obviously. Strategic planning, understanding the structures of boards of directors, things like that, working with a board of directors. Like those are just some of the things that come to mind right away when you think of, what does a leader need that you might not think is a gift, like right off the bat, you might not think about when you think about the operational work that's being done underneath it. But yeah, things like that are really important for sure.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that feedback. I think those are all really important skills, and I would just people can take their time to think about it. Cultural sensitivity, community development, writing, yes, clear language, all of those things. And I have the survey link there, so people can think some more. I'm going to take notes of the things that people are saying here, but also just encouraging people to use that survey. And then, both again, like I guess the essence, so more of like philosophically, what are the most important principles for those students to have as they prepare for that work, and then those specific skills like writing clearly, simple language, and those are things that we could really, budgets. For sure. I always say like executive director roles, it's like you cover so many different things on your plate and in your workload. So it's everything from, budgeting to, like you said, public speaking, community advocacy, fund development.
Another area is like DEI and truth and reconciliation, and understanding the organization's role within those places and how it can find ways to support and be inclusive. But yeah, you're right. All of these, sorry, I'm just to make a comment, all of these are very much like, it just shows how much an executive director is such a unicorn position, because you need such a vast amount of skills.
I think a big one too, it's Nanette. A big one is multitasking. Like having that ability to multitask or learn how to multitask.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think like we're working right now with our Center for Teaching and Learning, and having the skills and kind of building backwards from the skills is really important when we're developing and reviewing our program, because there's a lot of ways that you can use technology and again, situations, videos, resources, case studies to help people identify like how to, you know, be prepared and use those skills. So this is so helpful. Yeah, absolutely. So that's really great. Thank you all for your feedback. And yeah, if you're willing to take some time to add anything else that might come to your mind to the survey, and I can send the link out after too. And if anyone else you feel could really make some contributions, we can share it a little bit further as well. But just to kind of summarize before I move on to the research work that we do, if you're interested in working and perhaps having students do some service learning work with us, then please just reach out to me. If you have any other feedback on our NSLI courses, and or if you're interested in recording a video, we know for sure we're going to be recording some videos to put in the online environment, and they could be, you know, just think of your day to day, and there's probably been like a million different things, like you said, Nanette, you have to manage so many things at the same time, managing different priorities, multitasking. So just putting forward some of those situations so that students can come with like ideas and solutions about ways that they can tackle those things and be prepared to work well in the nonprofit sector. So yeah, I would love to hear from you if you're interested in participating with that. Those are things we'll be working on in the next few months here. So moving on to the research kind of pillar of the work of the NVSSN, I'm going to talk a little bit about a project that I'm working on right now with my colleague Lynn Gidlock at Community Engagement and Research Center, as well as the Faculty of Graduate Studies and Research. So we're working on what has been called the Social Innovation Summit. Again, joint initiative with FGSR, Graduate Studies, and Community Engagement and Research Center. And the whole point behind this is to promote community-based research. So we've been really excited about the outcomes already of this project, because the whole point is to engage graduate students who are doing a master's thesis or a PhD dissertation and are kind of like at the start of their journey and are working on formulating a research question. And they might have a general idea like, oh, I'd love to work with you know, maternal health for newcomer women. And they have that general idea of a topic, but don't have that question refined yet. So what we've done is we've brought community partners in who work in that area to have conversations with students about what are the needs that they see in newcomer women in Regina and in Saskatchewan, and what could a question be that would really help support the work that that organization is doing, and what type of research would really help them advocate for funding or for the work that they're doing, so that graduate students can then produce research that's really valuable to community. So really foundational underpinning of this project is that we want research not to just be for research's sake, but we want research to be beneficial for community. And we want to also encourage, again, that spirit of volunteerism and engagement for students who are in their master's or PhD programs, so that they understand the work that's happening in their area of interest that's going on locally. Again, there's so much amazing work happening, so connecting those students to that work, and then ideally having research that's produced that is going to support community-based organizations. So community-based research that's coming from community and then being made for community. And also just promoting the careers in the nonprofit sector. So these students, of course, through those connections will ideally learn more about the work that's happening and then potentially transition into employment in the sector. So that's a really exciting project that we're thrilled to work on. We had a first workshop where we taught students about community-based research, a second workshop just that happened this week, where we brought community partners together with students to kind of work on crafting and thinking about what those research questions could look like. And we have everything from kinesiology, public policy, theater, like it's just been really incredible to see all these groups kind of come together and make connections with community. So that's been great. So that's a little bit about the type of research we do. And innovation, that third stream, I always kind of resort to this innovation through collaboration. And I hope that those of you who have met me have had this experience, like, or sentiment, I guess, that I am a collaborator. I love working with others. And I just really believe that it's so important to support each other's work together, motivate each other, celebrate each other's successes. And that's where we can really inspire more work and innovation and success for mutual success. So a lot of the time I'll partner with other nonprofit organizations so that we can increase capacity and, plan an event or highlight your work or whatever that might look like. I guess this is all to say that I'm open to anything that could be supportive to you and to your work. So we have traditionally run coffee clatches, which is a coffee clatch means, I think it comes from a German word that means coffee and gossip. And the idea behind it is just, again, bringing people together over a theme or a topic to have conversations and learn from each other. And then again, just kind of get inspired by people's problem solving skills and ways that they're dealing or navigating with problems or ideas that they have, and then just kind of that mutual support. So we do have one of those coming up. I'll tell you about that in a second. Recently, for example, we had an event. We partnered with the Sask Council for International Cooperation, and we ran a youth event because that's part of their mandate. And of course, I'm on the U of R campus, so there are lots of young people here. So we just kind of, mutually supported each other in that way and had a really amazing event around the Sustainable Development Goals. So another partnership is one that Victor mentioned at the start, and I'm just so thrilled to be able to partner with the South Sask Community Foundation and connecting those Sustainable Development Goals to kind of show the connection between local community challenges and the global goals. So I know that the Canadian Community Foundation has done a tremendous amount of really amazing work with connecting vital signs reports to the Sustainable Development Goals. So the global goals for sustainable development were established by the United Nations, as many of you likely know, as a way of measuring social impact. And I am a firm believer and advocate for demonstrating the innovative work that the nonprofit sector really does to make social progress. And they are arguably the sector that's doing that the most. Victor and I chatted about how I could support the South Sask Community Foundation with their new Vital Signs report that's going to be released in the fall, and just making that link to the development goals. I've been doing a lot of reading and research about connecting that and how localizing those in our communities can really help, again, measure progress and show how global change starts at that local level, and that the local players are really the ones who are advancing that. So giving credit to the nonprofit sector for the work that they're doing to make global change, and like local change and global change. So just as kind of a refresher, I popped the goals up here. I'm sure that each and every one of you on the call can kind of identify through poverty or hunger, reducing hunger, providing quality education, decent work and economic growth. I see work prep here, and so it's like, yes, that's exactly what you're doing. You're helping people get access to to decent work. Climate action, and of course the interconnectivity of these goals. So, when we're working towards quality education, we are fighting climate change, and when we're reducing poverty, we're working towards gender equality. So I'm sure that your organization could easily see themselves identified here. So this is kind of one of the projects I'm really passionate about, and Luther College has made, again, a priority of just kind of increasing the profile of the goals in our community. I've recently been trained as an SDG mobilizer, just meaning that I can come and talk to your organization about the goals and how you can integrate them and connect them to your work. So if you're interested in just kind of like highlighting how the goals connect to your work, I'm happy to come and have a conversation with you about that. I know a lot of people like to put them on their website to, again, just show, or even in their grant applications or funding applications, showing even if it's a provincial grant, but federal grants, the federal government does a lot of work tracking like nationally how we're working towards the goals. So if that's something that would be helpful to you, I would love to connect with you and chat more with you about how that's working. And really excited again for the vital signs work that is happening. Victor is doing an amazing job on that report, and just really happy to be able to collaborate on the part about the sustainable development goals. So as I just kind of finish up here, I thought I would let everybody know about upcoming events and ways to connect with the NVSSN. So we do have an event next week. I think some of you are coming, so I'm really thrilled to see you, that I'll be able to see you there next week. So that's next Thursday. We're partnering with the Regina Public Library to offer a nonprofit career fair for members of our community who are interested in volunteer or paid positions in the nonprofit sector. So we'll start with a panel discussion from 2:30 to 3:30, and then an expo from 3:30 to 5:30. We'll have tables there, and you can have a booth and just talk about, the work the organization does, ways that people can volunteer. The goal is to help engage people around, what are like paid positions or volunteer positions in the nonprofit sector. So if you're interested in taking part, then you can check the RPL website, or I can send you a link after for the fair. And it's going to take place in the upper mezzanine there at the Central Library. And like I said, we have an upcoming coffee clutch, and it's going to be around that fund development theme on March 30th. So we'll have a brief presentation at the beginning from DCG Consulting, which is a consulting group that does nonprofit consulting in the area of fund development. So they're just going to prepare kind of a brief presentation, 20 to 30 minutes on, the themes and topics that are trending the most in the area of fund development, and then mainly giving people the opportunity to connect with each other, learn what they're doing, what's working, what's not working, and just that mutual support around that topic and learning together. So I don't have a location yet. I'm just working on finding a community location to host it, but it will be from 1:30 to 3:30 on March 30th. So you can kind of save the date. And then also save the date for an SG Summit. So again, around that topic of the Sustainable Development Goals, we're going to be hosting a summit, and it's graciously funded by Lynn Gidlock and Irina at Johnson Shoyama. They have given some money forward to help promote the work of the SDG localization. So that's going to be taking place, like I said, June 19th. And the goal of that will just be to have some more conversations around this framework. How can it be used? How can nonprofits organizations use it perhaps as a framework for evaluation? How can they connect their work to that? What's the value of localizing the SDGs? And we have a speaker from the Tamarack Institute. The director of their climate transitions team will be speaking. And we have, well, hopefully speaking, she's still confirming with me, but it sounds like she'll be speaking. And we have another graduate student from Carleton who has done PhD research in how nonprofits can use the SDGs as a framework. So we really are looking forward to that, and still in the early planning stages. So as soon as I have kind of all of those things finalized and have a tentative schedule, I'll be sending out more details as well. I do have a newsletter, so you can connect with us on our newsletter if you want to stay in touch on some of those topics. So I'll add the QR code here for the survey about, the most important skills for the nonprofit sector, and then just leave my contact information here and just open it up in case anyone has questions before I pass it back to you, Victor. But thanks for the opportunity again. I'm just thrilled to have the chance to chat with you all today.
Thanks, Colleen. Yeah, I'll just make sure everyone knows if you have any questions, you can throw it into the chat, or feel free just to perk up and start talking. One question I actually have is just regarding the service learning placements. If an organization is looking to get involved with that, what does that process look like as far as, we talked to you today, what's the potential of getting a placement?
Really, you just have to email us for the grant. And I did neglect to mention this, it's an important detail, but for the grant at the well, there's opportunities around the grant, and then just in general for engagement and service learning. I would say just email me anytime, and we can, if you want to be considered, it would be like kind of like for the next semester. So right now it would be for fall, the fall semester, and then in the fall, if you reach out to me, then it would likely be for the winter semester. So we do kind of have to plan a little bit ahead to make sure that everything can be included. But yeah, I mean, the process would just be to email like Lynn or I. For the grant, the theme is net zero. So really that just means like climate change and net zero. And we all know that that theme can apply really broadly. But if you are working in your organization around climate change and net zero, then by all means, like, we would love to connect with you. We do have 22 placements for community partners within the grant that we've received. And then beyond that, though, we have more opportunities for engagement. And again, as we're working on this course review process, it would just be reaching out to me, sending me an email, sitting down and talking about what that could look like for your organization, and then just making time to do it. So yeah.
Sorry, I was muted there. I just have one more question, unless anyone else does as well. But I was curious if you have a gauge of what the time commitment looks like for those courses, like how many hours can it be?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So usually in our service learning placements, we try to have like, 3 meetings per semester with like an executive director or community partner. Doesn't necessarily have to be the executive director. So let's say a semester is from September to December, and we plan to have the community partner present maybe like the second or third class and just kind of talk about their mandate, what their organization does, and what their problem or challenge or project that they really hope the students can work on. And then the instructor will go back, support the students to learn what they need to do to develop that project or work on that challenge. And then midpoint of the semester, they come back for another class presentation time. And again, keeping in mind that these would all be virtually on Zoom and probably for like an hour. Like it wouldn't be more than 90 minutes for sure. And then kind of that midpoint in the semester, coming back and saying, okay, here's some feedback about the projects and the things that you're working on. Have you thought about this? This looks really good. Maybe remember this, kind of similar to what you're doing right now, Victor, with that other class. And then at the end of the semester, having the students kind of present their project proposals or articles, advocacy pieces, communication plans, whatever that might look like for your organization. So really the time commitment would be 3 hours, maybe 4 hours per semester. And we could also look at something else like recording videos or doing things like that. But it is really nice for students to connect with community partners kind of in that synchronous online space, just so they can ask questions, and that gives them the chance to like learn more about, volunteering and what the mandate is of the organization. So it's not a huge time commitment. I, by all means, make every effort to make it as easy as possible for the community partner, and I'm definitely willing to like help support that coordination and logistical component as well, so that it takes that off your plate. So thanks for asking that.
Oh, great. Good. Okay. I think we're all wrapped up with this then, so I'll stop recording for the presentation and we'll get on to the next portion.